When my wife sat me down and asked for a friendly divorce, I knew exactly what that meant. See, when a woman uses the word friendly in the same sentence as divorce, she's not being kind. She's being strategic. She wants to keep you around as her safety net while she explores her options. The whole conversation was rehearsed. She had this concerned look on her face, talking about how we'd grown apart and how she needed space to find herself. But here's the kicker. She kept emphasizing how much she still cared about me and how important it was that we remained friends. Red flags were flying everywhere. I sat there listening to her speech, and honestly, I wanted to laugh. Women don't ask for divorce when they're happy in their marriage. They ask for divorce when they've already got someone else in mind, or when they want the freedom to explore without the guilt of cheating. The friendly part? That's just keeping you on standby in case their new adventure doesn't work out. Instead of arguing or begging her to reconsider like she probably expected, I surprised her. I looked her straight in the eye and said, "All right, let's do it." The color drained from her face. She clearly wasn't expecting me to agree so quickly and calmly. She started backtracking immediately. "Wait, don't you want to talk about this more? Maybe we should try counseling first." But I was already done. If she wanted out, she was getting out. No drama, no pleading, no making a fool of myself trying to change her mind. The next few weeks were interesting. While we were going through the divorce process, she kept trying to maintain this weird level of involvement in my life. She'd text me about random things, suggest we grab coffee to talk through things, and even offered to help me find a new place to live. Each time, I kept my responses short and focused on the divorce paperwork. What really got to her was my attitude. I wasn't devastated. I wasn't falling apart. I was handling the divorce like a business transaction, which is exactly what it was. She'd make these comments like, "You seem really okay with all this," fishing for some kind of emotional reaction. But I refused to give her the satisfaction. The truth is, her request for a friendly divorce told me everything I needed to know about who she really was. She wanted to have her cake and eat it too. She wanted the freedom to do whatever she wanted while keeping me emotionally invested and available. That's not friendship. That's manipulation. By the time we signed the papers, she was visibly frustrated with how smoothly everything had gone. She kept looking at me like she was waiting for me to break down or beg her to come back. But I just signed my name, shook the lawyer's hand, and walked out. No drama, no scene, no giving her the emotional chaos she was probably expecting. The divorce was finalized within 6 weeks. Clean, simple, and exactly as friendly as she wanted it to be. But what she didn't realize was that I had my own definition of friendly, and it didn't include staying in touch with someone who had just shown me exactly how little our marriage meant to her. 2 weeks after the divorce was finalized, I decided to actually move forward with my life. While my ex-wife was busy posting cryptic social media updates about new beginnings and finding herself, I was focused on something much more concrete. There was this woman who had been part of our social circle for years. She was one of my ex-wife's friends, but we'd always had good conversations whenever we were at the same gatherings. During the marriage, I'd noticed she paid attention to things my wife never did. She'd remember details about my work, asked thoughtful questions, and actually listened to the answers. I reached out to her about a week after everything was settled. Nothing dramatic, just a simple text asking if she wanted to grab coffee and catch up. Her response came back within minutes, and she seemed genuinely excited to hear from me. When we met up, the conversation flowed naturally. She asked how I was handling everything, and I told her the truth. I was doing fine. Better than fine, actually. She nodded like she understood completely, then said something that caught my attention. "Honestly, I always thought you deserved better." She never seemed to appreciate what she had. That comment hung in the air for a moment. Here was someone who had watched my marriage from the outside, and she'd seen what I'd been dealing with. She went on to explain how she'd noticed the way my ex-wife would dismiss me in conversations, or how she'd flirt with other guys at parties while I was standing right there. We started meeting regularly after that. Coffee dates turned into dinner, and dinner turned into long conversations that lasted well into the evening. She was everything my ex-wife wasn't: attentive, genuine, and actually interested in building something real instead of just taking. Meanwhile, my phone kept buzzing with messages from my ex-wife. She'd text me random things throughout the day. "How are you doing? Saw something that reminded me of you. We should catch up soon." Each message was clearly designed to keep some kind of connection alive. I kept my responses minimal. One-word answers, long delays between replies, and absolutely no encouragement for her to keep reaching out. But she persisted, apparently convinced that our friendly divorce meant we were still going to be buddies. The contrast was stark. Here I was, having genuine conversations with someone who actually valued my company, while my ex-wife was trying to maintain some weird pseudo-relationship through text messages. She'd suggest meeting up for lunch to talk as friends, but I could see right through it. After about 3 weeks of this, the woman I'd been seeing brought up something interesting. She mentioned that my ex-wife had been asking mutual friends about what I was up to and who I'd been spending time with. Apparently, she was getting frustrated that I wasn't sharing details about my life with her anymore. That's when I realized she was starting to panic. The friendly divorce was supposed to keep me accessible while she did whatever she wanted. But instead of sitting around waiting for her crumbs of attention, I was building something real with someone who actually wanted to be there. The woman I was seeing understood the situation completely. She'd watched my ex-wife's behavior during the marriage, and she wasn't surprised by any of this. She also made it clear that she had no intention of hiding our connection out of some misguided loyalty to my ex-wife. By the end of the month, we developed something genuine. She was smart, funny, and refreshingly direct about what she wanted. When I was with her, I remembered what it felt like to be with someone who actually chose to be there, not someone who was just keeping me around as a backup plan. By the 5th week after my divorce, things with her had become serious. We weren't just casually dating anymore. We were building something real. She'd practically moved into my place, and honestly, it felt more like home than my house had in years with my ex-wife. The difference was night and day. She'd cook dinner without being asked, remember things I mentioned in passing, and actually showed interest in my day beyond just the surface level. When I came home, she was excited to see me, not because she needed something, but because she genuinely enjoyed my company. We decided it was time to stop being discreet about our relationship. Why should we hide when we weren't doing anything wrong? I was divorced, she was single, and we were both adults making choices about our own lives. The first public appearance was at a local restaurant where we knew we'd run into people from our social circle. She looked incredible, and more importantly, she looked happy to be there with me. We held hands walking in, sat close during dinner, and acted like the couple we'd become. Word traveled fast. By the next day, I was getting calls and messages from mutual friends. Most were supportive, but a few seemed uncomfortable with the situation. Apparently, my ex-wife had been telling people that we were still working through things and maintaining a friendship. That's when I learned something interesting. Through one of our mutual friends, I found out that my ex-wife had been busy during our month apart. She'd been seen with at least 3 different guys, including one who'd been sniffing around during the last year of our marriage. So much for finding herself. The timeline made perfect sense now. She'd wanted a friendly divorce, so she could explore her options without the guilt of cheating, while keeping me available in case none of her prospects worked out. Classic having your cake and eating it too. When my new girlfriend heard about this, she just shook her head and laughed. I could have told you that's what she was doing. She was always like that. Wanted every guy's attention, but never wanted to commit to any of them. What struck me most was how different this relationship felt. With my ex-wife, I'd always felt like I was competing for her attention and affection. With this woman, I felt chosen. She made it clear that she wanted to be with me, not because I was convenient, but because she genuinely valued what we had together. We started appearing together at more social events. She'd introduce me proudly to people she knew, and I did the same. There was no awkwardness, no hesitation, and definitely no apologizing for our relationship. My ex-wife's messages became more frequent and more pointed. She'd ask direct questions about what I was doing and who I was spending time with. When I didn't provide details, she tried different angles. I heard you were at that new restaurant downtown. How was it? Obviously fishing for information. I maintained my policy of minimal responses, but I could tell she was getting frustrated. The friendly divorce wasn't playing out the way she'd expected. Instead of me sitting around waiting for her attention, I was building a life that didn't include her at all. The woman I was with understood the game completely. She'd been watching my ex-wife's behavior for years, and she wasn't intimidated by the situation. If anything, she seemed amused by my ex-wife's obvious panic about losing control of the narrative. By the end of that week, it was clear to everyone in our social circle that we were together. No more speculation, no more wondering. We were a couple, we were happy, and we weren't hiding from anyone, especially not from my ex-wife. The moment of truth came at a birthday party for one of our mutual friends. I knew my ex-wife would be there, but I wasn't about to change my plans or hide my relationship because of her discomfort. My girlfriend and I walked in together, and I could feel eyes on us immediately. My ex-wife was across the room when we arrived. The second she saw us, her face went through about 5 different expressions in rapid succession. Shock, anger, confusion, and finally, that fake smile she used to wear when she was plotting something. We made our rounds, saying hello to friends and enjoying ourselves. My girlfriend was confident and natural, engaging in conversations and laughing genuinely. She wasn't putting on a show or trying to make anyone uncomfortable. She was just being herself. But my ex-wife couldn't leave it alone. She kept finding excuses to walk past us, hover near our conversations, and insert herself into group discussions we were part of. Each time, I'd acknowledge her with a polite nod and continue whatever I was doing. About an hour into the party, she made her move. She approached us while we were talking to another couple and immediately tried to dominate the conversation. She started telling some long story about work, clearly trying to command attention and remind everyone that she existed. My girlfriend handled it perfectly. She listened politely, made appropriate comments, and didn't give my ex-wife any ammunition to work with. But I could see what was happening. My ex-wife was testing the dynamic, trying to figure out where she stood in this new reality. Then came the passive-aggressive comments. "It's so nice to see you both here together," she said with that syrupy sweet tone she used when she was being fake. "You look really happy." The way she said it made it clear she thought our happiness was somehow temporary or inappropriate. I responded with equal politeness but zero warmth. "Thanks. We are." Short, direct, and offering no opening for further conversation. Throughout the evening, she kept circling back to us. She'd join conversations we were having, laugh a little too loudly at things other people said, and generally make herself the center of attention whenever possible. It was like watching someone desperately trying to prove they were still relevant. The most telling moment came when my girlfriend excused herself to use the restroom. My ex-wife immediately swooped in, clearly thinking this was her chance for a private conversation. "So this is interesting," she said, trying to sound casual but failing completely. "I didn't expect to see you two here together." I looked at her directly and kept my voice level. "Why wouldn't we be here together? We're dating." She seemed taken aback by my directness. "I just thought maybe you'd give me a heads up or something. You know, since we agreed to stay friends." That's when I realized she still thought she had some kind of say in my life. "I don't need to give you updates about who I'm dating. We're divorced, remember?" Before she could respond, my girlfriend returned and smoothly rejoined the conversation. My ex-wife's expression shifted again, this time to barely concealed frustration. She'd expected some kind of awkward triangle dynamic, but instead, she was clearly the third wheel in this situation. The rest of the evening followed the same pattern. My ex-wife would hover, try to insert herself, and generally make it obvious that she was uncomfortable with the new reality. Meanwhile, my girlfriend and I enjoyed ourselves, completely unbothered by her presence. As we were leaving, I caught my ex-wife staring at us from across the room. She had this look on her face like she was trying to solve a puzzle she couldn't figure out. The friendly divorce had given her the freedom she wanted, but it had also given me the same freedom, and she clearly hadn't anticipated that I'd use it so effectively. The explosion happened at another social gathering 2 weeks later. This time it was a casual outdoor barbecue at a friend's house. My girlfriend and I arrived together, as had become our routine, and we were having a great time mingling with friends. My ex-wife showed up about an hour after us, and I could tell immediately that she was in a different mood than last time. She looked agitated, kept checking her phone, and was drinking more than usual. She'd clearly been stewing about seeing us together at the previous party. For the first hour, she maintained some semblance of civility, but I could feel the tension building. She kept shooting glances in our direction, and whenever someone complimented my girlfriend or mentioned how happy we looked together, her jaw would tighten visibly. The breaking point came when my girlfriend and I were talking with a small group near the pool. We were laughing about something, and I had my arm around her waist. It was a completely natural, comfortable moment between two people who genuinely enjoyed each other's company. Suddenly, my ex-wife stormed over and inserted herself directly into our conversation circle. "This is ridiculous," she announced loudly, causing several nearby conversations to stop. Everyone turned to look at her, clearly confused by her outburst. My girlfriend and I exchanged a quick glance, but neither of us moved or reacted dramatically. "You two think this is appropriate?" my ex-wife continued, her voice getting louder. "Flaunting this relationship like some kind of victory lap?" The entire party was watching now. I could see people pulling out their phones, clearly anticipating drama. But I kept my voice calm and steady. "What exactly is inappropriate about two single adults dating?" I asked, looking her directly in the eye. That question seemed to break whatever restraint she had left. "Single? We just got divorced. And you immediately run off with one of my friends? How is that not a betrayal of everything we agreed on?" My girlfriend stepped slightly closer to me, a subtle show of solidarity, but she let me handle the situation. "We agreed on a friendly divorce," I said, my voice carrying enough volume for everyone to hear clearly. "You wanted your freedom, and I gave it to you. That same freedom applies to me." "But we were supposed to remain friends," she practically shouted. I paused for a moment, letting her words hang in the air. Then I delivered the response I'd been saving for exactly this moment. "Friends don't ask for divorce, so they can explore other options while keeping their ex-husband as a backup plan. You wanted to be free to do whatever you wanted with whoever you wanted. Congratulations, you got exactly what you asked for." The silence that followed was deafening. You could see people processing what I'd just said, connecting the dots about her real motivations for the friendly divorce. She tried to recover, but she was clearly flustered. "That's not. I never said." "You didn't need to say it," I interrupted. "Your actions over the past month made it perfectly clear. You've been out with multiple guys while texting me about maintaining our friendship. That's not friendship. That's keeping your options open." My girlfriend squeezed my hand supportively, but she didn't need to say anything. Her presence beside me said everything that needed to be said. My ex-wife looked around desperately, probably hoping someone would come to her defense, but everyone was just staring. The truth was out there now, and it wasn't a good look for her. "This isn't over," she said, pointing at me with a shaking finger. I looked at her calmly and delivered the final blow. "Actually, it is. You ended it when you asked for the divorce. Everything that's happened since then has been your choice. Own it." She stormed off, grabbing her purse and leaving the party without saying goodbye to anyone. The crowd slowly dispersed, but I could hear the murmurs starting already. By tomorrow, everyone in our social circle would know exactly what had happened and why. The day after the barbecue incident, I made a series of decisions that would permanently close the door on my past. My ex-wife's public meltdown had shown me exactly who she really was, and I was done pretending that her version of friendship was worth maintaining. First, I blocked her number and all her social media accounts. No more random texts about checking in or fishing for information about my life. If she wanted to communicate about something truly necessary, she could go through my lawyer. Next, I went through my contact list and removed anyone who had been playing both sides. There were several mutual friends who had been feeding information back to her while pretending to support me. They thought they were being diplomatic, but they were actually enabling her manipulative behavior. My girlfriend supported every decision I made. She'd watched the whole drama unfold and understood that maintaining any connection with my ex-wife would be toxic for our relationship and my own peace of mind. Within a week, I noticed how much quieter my phone had become. No more desperate messages trying to pull me back into my ex-wife's orbit. No more updates from friends about what she was saying or doing. It was remarkably peaceful. But the most significant decision came when my girlfriend and I started talking about relocating. She had been offered a promotion that would require moving to another state, and frankly, the idea of starting completely fresh somewhere new appealed to both of us. We'd been together for almost 2 months by then, and our relationship had moved beyond just dating. We were talking about building a real future together, something that felt impossible while staying in the same town where my failed marriage had played out. The move would put us 3 states away from all the drama. My ex-wife could continue her pattern of chasing temporary validation from different guys, but she'd have to do it without any possibility of dragging me back into her chaos. 2 weeks before we were scheduled to move, I ran into one of our former mutual friends at the grocery store. He seemed uncomfortable, but eventually told me that my ex-wife had been asking everyone about my plans and whether I was really leaving town. Apparently, she'd finally realized that her safety net was disappearing permanently. The friendly divorce had backfired spectacularly. Instead of keeping me available while she explored her options, she'd pushed me into the arms of someone who actually valued what I brought to the table. He also mentioned that she'd been struggling with the guys she'd been dating. Turns out, Men who are willing to pursue a freshly divorced woman aren't usually looking for anything serious. She was learning the hard way that the grass isn't always greener. I listened politely, but didn't offer any commentary. Her struggles weren't my problem anymore, and I wasn't about to get pulled back into caring about her poor choices. The moving day arrived faster than expected. My girlfriend and I had found a great place in our new city, and we were both excited about the opportunities ahead. As we loaded the last boxes into the truck, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years: genuine excitement about the future. 3 months after my ex-wife had asked for her friendly divorce, I was starting a new chapter in a new place with someone who had proven she wanted to be part of my life, not just use me as a convenient option. The lesson was clear: when someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. My ex-wife had shown me that she valued her freedom more than our marriage, and I'd given her exactly what she wanted. The fact that she didn't like the consequences was her problem to solve, not mine. As we drove toward our new life, my girlfriend reached over and took my hand. "Any regrets?" she asked with a smile. I looked at her, then at the road ahead, and answered honestly, "Not a single one."